Welcome back to Deep Dive, where we continue our exploration of Jomo Kenyatta's complex legacy. In our last episode, we covered his journey to independence. Today, we're plunging into the critical period between 1964 and 1970, a time when Kenyatta firmly stamped his authority on the young nation, facing both triumphs and profound challenges.
Indeed, Lita. Having secured independence, Kenyatta's immediate task was to consolidate power within Kenya. The transition to a republic in December 1964 was pivotal. This move saw him shed the role of prime minister for an executive presidency, effectively concentrating control of the military, civil service, and judiciary directly in his hands. This significantly reshaped the checks and balances inherited from the British Westminster system.
And he wasted no time in neutralizing potential rivals. We saw the rapid marginalization of the Kenyan African Democratic Union, or KADU, which had advocated for a more regional federalism to protect minority tribes. How did Kenyatta outmaneuver them to pave the way for what essentially became a one-party state?
Kenyatta's strategy was multifaceted. He championed a strong unitary state under KANU, skillfully lobbying KADU members to cross the floor and join his party. This wasn't always subtle. Promises of ministerial positions or the threat of political irrelevance were powerful incentives. By December 1964, KADU voluntarily dissolved itself, with its leaders, including Ronald Ngala and Daniel Arap Moi, joining KANU. This effectively silenced formal parliamentary opposition.
But not all challenges came from external parties. His own vice president, Odinga, a prominent Luo leader, eventually became a formidable internal critic. What led to their split and the formation of the Kenya People's Union?
Odinga grew increasingly disillusioned with Kenyatta's pro-Western capitalist direction and what he perceived as growing favoritism towards the Kikuyu community. He championed more socialist policies. This culminated in 1966 when Kenyatta strategically maneuvered Odinga and his supporters out of KANU. Odinga resigned as vice president in April 1966 and formed the Kenya People's Union, or KPU. Kenyatta's response was swift, a constitutional amendment forcing KPU defectors from KANU to seek fresh mandates in by-elections, a move often called the Little General Election.
And the KPU, despite winning some seats, faced immense state obstruction, signaling a clear message about dissent. Beyond these direct political maneuvers, how else did Kenyatta secure his hold?
He was a master of political patronage. State resources, land, jobs, contracts became powerful tools to reward loyalty and punish criticism, creating a vast network of dependents. He also effectively utilized the national motto, Harambe, meaning pulling together. While ostensibly promoting self-reliance and community development, it also served as a mechanism to mobilize resources and channel influence, often directing development towards areas loyal to the government. Crucially, Kenyatta maintained an iron grip on the security apparatus, ensuring the police and army remained fiercely loyal, a critical factor in suppressing any potential dissent. And between 1964 and 1969, numerous constitutional amendments were passed, systematically concentrating more power in the presidency and gradually eroding parliamentary oversight.
The consolidation of power, however, wasn't without its darker undercurrents. This period also saw disturbing political assassinations that cast a long shadow over Kenyatta's government and fueled widespread suspicion. Let's talk about Pinto.
Pinto, assassinated in February 1965, was a significant figure. A Goan Kenyan politician, journalist, and a staunch socialist, he was a close ally of Odinga and an outspoken critic of corruption and Kenyatta's capitalist leanings. His assassination in his own driveway shocked the nation. While a man was convicted, Kisila Mutua, who claimed he was paid, many believed the true masterminds were high-ranking figures within the government. The investigation was notably superficial, and deeper political motives were never truly pursued. This was Kenya's first major political assassination after independence, sending a chilling message to the opposition.
And tragically, this pattern repeated a few years later with the assassination of Tom Mboya in July 1969, a death that ignited widespread unrest and deepened ethnic tensions.
Mboya was a brilliant and charismatic Luo politician, minister for economic planning, and widely seen as a potential successor to Kenyatta. His murder in broad daylight on a Nairobi street was a devastating blow. A Kikuyu man, Nahashon Isaac Nyenga Naroji, was quickly arrested and convicted. However, his reported dying words in court, "Why don't you go for the big man?" ignited public outcry and fueled the belief in a larger conspiracy. The government's swift closure of the investigation, despite calls for a deeper inquiry, cemented public suspicion of official complicity. This assassination profoundly deepened the rift between the Kikuyu and Luo communities and effectively removed a strong, progressive voice from the political landscape. In both Pinto's and Boya's cases, while perpetrators were found, the investigations consistently stopped short of uncovering any larger plot, fostering a climate of fear and suggesting a selective application of justice for politically sensitive crimes.
It's clear, Archer, that this period was fraught with internal political struggles and profound challenges to national unity. The assassinations cast a long, dark shadow over the promise of independence.
Absolutely, Lita. The political landscape was turbulent, marked by a fierce consolidation of power and ethnic tensions simmering beneath the surface. Yet, it's crucial to remember that a nation is more than just its politics. Even amidst these difficulties, Kenyans were not idle.
And that's a vital point, because while these political dramas unfolded, the young nation was also making incredible strides, finding its strength and identity in other ways. Indeed, it wasn't just politics dominating the headlines. In communities across Kenya, the spirit of Harambee was vibrantly alive, with citizens pooling resources to build new schools and push education forward. Simultaneously, a new generation of literary voices was beginning to tell Kenya's story, while on the global stage, our athletes were bringing unprecedented glory.
Indeed, it's not just politics that dominated the headlines. In communities across Kenya, the spirit of Harambee was vibrantly alive, with citizens pooling resources to build new schools and push education forward. Simultaneously, a new generation of literary voices was beginning to tell Kenya's story, while on the global stage, our athletes were bringing unprecedented glory.
1868 Mexico City Olympics, just a year before Boa's tragic death, Kenya burst onto the world stage in a spectacular way. We saw Kipchoge Keno become a household name, winning gold in the 1500 meters and silver in the 5000 meters. And he wasn't alone. Naftali Temu took gold in the 10,000 meters, Amos Bawat in the 3000 steeplechase, marking the beginning of Kenya's enduring dominance in that event. Our athletes brought home 3 gold, 4 silver, and 2 bronze medals. For a nation barely 5 years independent, these were truly unifying moments, victories that transcended ethnic divides and showcased Kenya's incredible talent to the world.
And those successes weren't confined to the track. The foundation for national development was also being laid. In 1970, the University of Nairobi became fully independent, a monumental step in nurturing our own intellectuals and professionals. This, alongside the widespread establishment of those Harambee schools you mentioned, demonstrated an incredible national drive for progress and self-reliance in education far beyond government capabilities. This era also saw significant infrastructure development, with efforts to expand the road network, modernize the port of Mombasa, and even the establishment of the Kenya Pipeline Company in 1966, all vital for economic growth and connecting the disparate parts of the new nation.
And culturally, as you hinted, this was a fertile ground for storytellers. Ngugi wa Thiong'o began publishing his seminal works like Weep Not Child and The River Between in the mid-60s. These novels didn't shy away from the complexities of our past and present, giving voice to the Kenyan experience in a way that resonated deeply and established Kenya's place in global literature. It was a period where, despite the political growing pains, the spirit of Kenyans shone brightly, contributing in myriad ways to the fabric of their new nation. To understand how Kenyatta wielded his authority and managed these contrasting narratives of progress and suppression, we need to examine the inner circle he constructed around himself. Who did he place in power, and what were the guiding principles behind these crucial appointments?
Kenyatta understood that governing a newly independent state, especially one with deep ethnic divisions, required a loyal and strategically chosen cabinet. His appointments were a careful balance, rewarding unwavering loyalty, ensuring some ethnic representation, though often skewed,
and bringing in technocrats where necessary. Kikuyu ethno-regional dominance was a clear feature. A significant number of key cabinet and administrative roles were held by individuals from his own community, particularly those with historical ties to him or from his home district of Kiambu. This group often formed an informal but highly influential kitchen cabinet, sometimes referred to as the Kiambu Mafia, with direct access to the president, often overriding formal structures.
So loyalty was paramount, even over broader merit, perhaps.
Absolutely. Absolute loyalty to Kenyatta was the non-negotiable prerequisite. Anyone who questioned his authority found themselves swiftly marginalized. We also begin to see the foundation for family influence taking root. His brother-in-law, Bayu Konanje, for example, was a close confidant and powerful minister of state, instrumental in land dealings and security matters. Other relatives began securing positions in parastatals and local administration, quietly building a powerful network.
Can you give us a sense of some of the key individuals in this inner circle during this period?
Certainly. Beyond Kunanje, you had figures like Charles Nonjo, the Attorney General, who was critical in drafting the constitutional amendments that concentrated presidential power. Then there was James Gichuru, a long-standing KANU ally who held significant portfolios like finance and defense. Jackson Ngaine, as Minister for Lands and Settlement, was crucial for the land distribution policies which, while intended to correct historical injustices, often became a major source of patronage and wealth for the elite. Even a white Kenyan, Bruce Mackenzie, remained Minister for Agriculture, demonstrating Kenyatta's pragmatic approach to retaining technical expertise and some settler confidence. And notably, Daniel Arap Moi, after KADU dissolved and Odinga was marginalized, rose to become Minister for Home Affairs and later Vice President. His selection was strategic. Representing the Kalenjin, he was seen as a reliable, loyal, and non-threatening figure who could balance ethnic representation without challenging Kikuyu dominance or Kenyatta's ultimate authority.
And the willing buyer, willing seller land policy we mentioned earlier, it seems this became a significant mechanism for generating wealth and further cementing the loyalty of this elite.
Precisely. While framed as a market-based solution, it facilitated the acquisition of vast tracts of prime land by Kenyatta's inner circle and other wealthy individuals who had the capital and political connections, often at the direct expense of the landless and Mau Mau veterans who had fought for that very land. This, along with the staffing of key state corporations or parastatals with loyalists, extended the government's influence deeply into the economic fabric of the nation. It illustrates how Kenyatta built and maintained a powerful system that rewarded loyalty and reinforced his centralized control.
And that brings us to the end of another fascinating, if at times sobering, deep dive into the legacy of Jomo Kenyatta. Archard, thank you for guiding us through this complex period.
My pleasure, Lita. It's a history rich with lessons.
Indeed. To our listeners, thank you for joining us on Deep Dive. We hope this episode has shed more light on the formative years of Kenya under Kenyatta's leadership, a time of both immense progress and profound political challenges.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our next and final episode on Jomo Kenyatta, where we'll cover the pivotal years leading up to his passing and the lasting impact he left on Kenya.
You won't want to miss it. From all of us at Deep Dive, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.